Within a half mile, say, of a group of orcas or a single orca, to turn off your sounder, because those sounders can run at a frequency that can sometimes interfere with their own sonar that they use to find their prey. If you emulate great behavior, others will follow.
They can also keep an eye out for a whale warning flag. This is a flag that boaters can fly to signal that there are whales in the area. And that helps boaters understand that they should slow down and keep their distance from the whales.
I believe that the recreational boaters are going to do what they need to do to take care of these whales. Now we're in a time of respecting what's here and changing our mindset from look how close I got, isn't that cool, to look at the respect that we have for these whales, isn't that cool?
You can make a difference. Go to bewhalewise.org to find out more information and help us keep these animals around for the future.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
I'd like to call to order the Pierce County Council Economic and Infrastructure Development Committee meeting for April 8th, 2025, times 9:31. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes, good morning. Councilmember Yambe.
Here.
Councilmember Herrera.
Here.
Councilmember Denson.
Here.
Councilmember Ayala.
Here.
And Councilmember Morrell.
Here.
You have 5 members present.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, the agenda has been posted. Are there any changes at this time? Any questions of the agenda for today? Not seeing any. The agenda will stand as presented. Approval of the minutes for March 25th, 2025. Again, have been posted. Hopefully everyone had a chance to look at them. And are there any questions or corrections? Not seeing any, the minutes will stand as presented. Moving on to item number 5, we have proposal R 2025-129. Will the clerk please read it in the record?
Proposal number R 2025-129, a resolution of the Pierce County Council initiating an evaluation of 96th Street East from State Route 162 to the Puyallup River Bridge for the potential reduction of the speed limit and the implementation of traffic calming measures, requesting recommendations regarding the same from the county engineer and setting report backdates.
Thank you. Okay, for the introduction, Mr. Swanson, are you handling this one?
Yes, good morning, Chair Morrell and members of the committee. The proposed resolution would initiate a traffic study and school zone evaluation on 96th Street East in the Alderton-McMillan community. The evaluation of 96th Street East would be from State Route 162, which is the Sumner Ording Highway, for those not familiar with the area, to the Puyallup River Bridge. The evaluation would include traffic calming considerations and the creation of a school zone near the Cascade Christian Schools McAlder campus. The resolution directs the county engineer to provide speed reduction, traffic calming, and school zone recommendations to the council no later than July 31st of this year. And recommendations related to signage and lighting no later than February 1st of next year. The reason for the 2 different dates is to align potential council actions on the school zone with the following school year that would be coming up, and then to allow for the evaluation of the signage and the lighting to occur during the fall and winter when the agritourism season is going on. So due to kind of the special kind of circumstances of this area, we have that 2-phased report back coming to council. The surrounding Alderton-McMillan community is, a hub of agritourism, which has led to an increase of vehicle and pedestrian activity, including parking vehicles and foot traffic. This increase in activity underscores kind of the need for the evaluation and potential safety enhancements as the situation, there's been a substantial change in the situation over, whether it's the last 5 years or 10 years. There's a lot of changing activity in the area. With that, Mr. Chair, I do believe we have, I see we have Letitia Neal on the call, and I believe we have Ms. Sarah Grice, too, the county's traffic engineer. And then we have council staff available to answer any questions.
Are there any questions of council staff by committee members? Not seeing any. Is anyone on staff want to make comment online? Okay, not enough coffee this morning. Okay. Since there's no questions, no comments, then I will open it up for public comment at this time. There is no public that isn't paid for by county dollars in the room, so we will move online. Is there anyone online that wants to comment on this proposal?
Yes, Mr. Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comments on proposal number R 2025-129, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And I see no hands, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we will close the public comment portion of this resolution, bring it back to the committee. Are there any questions, comments? Not seeing any, I will entertain a motion from Vice Chair Ayala.
Thank you, Chair. I move the proposal R 2025-129 be forwarded to the full council with a DUBAS recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Resolution 2025-129 will be forwarded to the full council with a due pass recommendation. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 6, which is proposal number R 2025-132. Will the clerk read that into the record?
Proposal number R 2025-132, a resolution of the Pierce County Council related to traffic safety and adopting the Pierce County Vision Zero action plan with goal of achieving zero traffic deaths and serious injuries on Pierce County roadways by 2035.
Thank you. Okay, moving it back to staff. Ms. Erica Red Hunt, is this yours?
This one is mine. So the Vision Zero action plan, the members of the committee should be familiar with this action plan, which was initiated by a council resolution in 2022. The purpose was to develop a comprehensive strategy to achieve a goal of zero traffic deaths or serious injuries by 2035. The Office of the County Engineer has presented to the council numerous times on this project since it was initiated in 2022, including at our last committee meeting on March 25th. So today it comes before you as a resolution. It's the culmination of several years of hard work, analysis, and public input. Approval of this plan by the County Council would ensure that it's eligible for federal implementation grants. Traditionally, those grants have come around with a due date in springtime, but this latest cycle of federal grants was just released and they will be due in June. So this could be a timely approval of the council for that eligibility. The action plan itself, the Vision Zero action plan, is a data-driven approach, and it recognizes that there's a shared responsibility between the users of the road and transportation partners to ensure that there's roadway safety. It understands that people make errors, and that even when users make errors, those should not result in any serious injuries or fatalities. This plan was developed with the input of the community, and it aligns with the Washington state plan as well as federal plans for that are similar to the Vision Zero idea of eliminating serious or fatal injuries on our roadway systems. So with this in the packet, the department submitted an equity note and a fiscal note. There's no formal presentation scheduled for today, but we have Planning Public Works staff available in person, Mr. Mike Galizio and Mr. Sean Phelps, as well as a variety of people online who could answer any questions that you might have. So with that, I will turn it back to the chair.
Okay, are there any questions of committee members to Ms. Erica Red Hunt? Committee Member Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. I just had some questions on, I guess, the development of it. Maybe they can ask some of the questions. And
Sure.
It's going to go back to the public safety, our Sheriff's Department, State Patrol. I think the Sheriff's Department was part of the steering committee of it. I don't think State Patrol was, but I think they were involved in some aspects. But I'd like to hear a little bit more about what the Sheriff's Office thinks of this, and the buy-in to this? Because I haven't heard anything from them.
So while I invite Mr. Glazio up to the podium to address this, I believe the Sheriff's Office was invited. They were planning to appear online, but they're not online quite yet. But I'll monitor that, and as soon as I'll let you know.
Yeah, Mike Galizio with Planning and Public Works. And council member, as you pointed out, the sheriff department has been involved in the process since the beginning. And not only were they on our internal steering committee, which was made up of various county departments, they also regularly participated in our leadership work group meeting, which was the external stakeholders. And so they were given the opportunity to provide input on the plan as it progressed forward. We also had two focused stakeholder interviews with the sheriff, with the patrol division, and also with their public information office, just so we can do a better job of calling out the enforcement and education strategies that they're currently doing and recognize that. I think there was one issue where they expressed concern, and that had to deal with the use of traffic safety cameras or speed safety cameras. So the response we got from their administration is that they did not support the use of those cameras at this time. But again, we decided to keep it in the plan because this plan is sort of like a toolbox of safety strategies. And as we move forward with funding and implementation of those strategies, we're going to have to do more outreach again and more coordination with the sheriff. So we know that. And we were hoping Sergeant Darby was going to be here, but we've been dealing with about 8 different sheriff personnel from the beginning of this process. We haven't, at least our department has not met with the new sheriff yet, but we know that's something we need to do. In order to do some of the strategies in the plan, such as speed safety cameras, that's going to require action by the council. You'll need to adopt an ordinance. Under state law, it will have to go through a public involvement process. You have to do annual reporting. And under state law, only certain locations are eligible for speed camera use. So right now in county code, red light cameras are authorized, but not speed safety cameras. So that will require us coming back to the council. So even if the sheriff wanted to do that, it would still have to come back to you for action.
Absolutely. So it sounds like the only comment they had was on the traffic safety cameras. I could only imagine there's more that they can do and things like that. Do you think that you did just say that there's probably more talks that we need to do?
Yeah.
As we move forward, we have a new sheriff, and we'd like to. I just wanted to make sure that we're, all together. It takes a team to get this done. Again, Pierce County has the highest death rate in the whole state, and we want to change that. And I want to make sure that this plan is right and ready to go off the get-go. So thank you.
One of the strategies that they did mention was they need more patrol officers. Right now, there's only 3 full-time patrol officers dedicated to the unincorporated area. I think their staffing levels in the patrol division are like 9 or 10. Years ago, it used to be 24.
Yep.
So because of attrition, retirements, COVID, and other things, they right now only have 3 full-time patrol officers. And whenever they do the emphasis patrols and the high visibility patrols, that all requires overtime. And it also requires the county to bring in other jurisdictions for assistance. So when the Canyon Road emphasis patrol was done in February, that involved bringing 9 other jurisdictions to assist the sheriff with implementing that. So that is a need they have.
Sure. I just want to make sure, again, I think one of the pillars or one of the pegs on the chair is law enforcement. If that is shorter than the other ones, we're going to be leaning to the left a little bit, and it's not going to be a stable package, and I just want to make sure that we have that in place. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those questions. Are there any other questions of any committee members? Mike, you better get back up there.
Yeah, that's what happened to me during the comp plan process.
Committee member Yambe.
So Mike, just to clarify what we mean by speed safety cameras, because I know that this is a pretty touchy topic and that, you know, it's not to be mixed, construed with red light cameras, but speed safety cameras, are we talking about the kinds that are in Tacoma, Lakewood, Fife, and I think the last one was like Edgewood? It had the speed particularly looking for in school zones.
Exactly. Those, when we refer to automated traffic safety cameras, you're looking at three different types. The speed safety cameras, which are at the schools and other locations, which are used to cite people for speeding. And then there's the red light cameras, which are the cameras used at arterial intersections to document red light violations. Mm-hmm. And then the other category is allowed under state law is at railroad crossings. Mm-hmm. So those are all the three types of cameras that fall under what we call automated traffic enforcement. Mm-hmm. But the speed safety cameras, and you'll hear the term SSC a lot, mm-hmm. refers to the speed cameras.
Yes, and they're not like, taking people's data and storing it for unlimited periods of time.
No.
It's only...
No,
okay.
They're not.
Okay.
And again, they're only allowed in certain locations, school zones, walk zones, public park zones, construction work zones, and then state highways that serve as city streets, which is kind of odd.
States implemented those mobile cameras for the work zones. This is not like it's a brand new thing.
No, it's been around. The benefit, one of the other stakeholder interviews that we had was with Sergeant David Obermiller with Puyallup PD. He leads the Pierce County Traffic Safety Task Force. And so he gave us a lot of background information. The state commission has issued guidelines and state patrols. We have a lot of information on what we need to do in order to implement that. It will require your action and more outreach.
Okay. All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you for those questions. Vice Chair Ayala.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you so much for this. I did have kind of a more of a curiosity. I appreciate your comment around this being a data-driven document that for us to consider. Is there any pieces of these data points that surprised staff, whether it was from community comments or just a learning?
Yeah, I think during the study session, I think our consultant mentioned he was surprised by a lot of the violations are involving higher excessive speeds than what's been reported before. And that was an item that our Transportation Advisory Commission went back and forth on when we presented to them 7 different times. They were attributing a lot of that based on congestion levels or traffic levels. But if you look at the state Target Zero plan and even the PSRC safety plan, the fatality and serious injury rates have actually skyrocketed since COVID. And the reason why is not because traffic volumes have been heavier, is because they've been lighter, which allows people to travel at faster speeds. So that is probably a better speeds or better correlation to these types of incidents than congestion. That's what the data is pointing to. So that was the surprising. The fact was that more people, there's been more speeding violations, not just 10, 20 miles per hour over the posted speed, but much faster than that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for those questions. Oh, we have Councilmember Kruger joined us. Councilmember Kruger, you have a question?
I do, thank you, and I apologize if it's been asked or discussed. Because the Vision Zero Network plan isn't just limited to what was in the study. I have seen evidence where there is much more involved in this in time. Were any further regulations or ideas discussed that weren't in the plan that would be much more restrictive, or I guess I'll use the word surveillance of the populations on the roads?
Yeah, they're again, right now, because of this federal funding opportunity that's out there, there's a lot of state plans being done. So the DOT and the State Traffic Commission just completed the Target Zero plan in September, and that applies to all public roads. And the Puget Sound Regional Council is taking their regional safety plan for adoption in May. And I think Councilmember Yala, you'll be weighing in on that on Thursday. And so that is another menu of strategy options that can be considered. And then we have our own toolbox strategies that are offered in our plan. They're intended to be specific to county roads, but we can certainly implement other measures from the state and regional plan. That's always an option we have. It's just that we're going to have to go back and do more outreach, I believe, especially if it involves any type of restrictive measures. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. And a little bit more, Chair, if I may.
Sure.
And just when looking at all of the parameters in this, is it ever discussed that, it would be more beneficial to focus on this area where we know things are happening rather than to look at everything as a whole and spread the dollars across in areas that may not have the same effect that it would on certain intersections or road venues?
Yeah, and we tried to do that with the surveys. We asked people up front, what is your safety concerns? And based on that feedback, we heard speeding was the highest concern raised. So then when we had our online open house, we listed different speed management strategies and asked the public for feedback on that. In terms, again, there's 4 different emphasis areas, and we are hoping to get a little more feedback on where the county should prioritize. And we didn't really get any distinct priorities over another, which is why I think we have to go back and do more focused strategy. But intersections and what we call roadway or lane departures, that's where a majority of the accidents were occurring, involving fatalities and serious injury. So those 2 areas would probably be, based on the data, is probably where the county should probably focus, if I had to call those out.
And I'm wondering if in the speeding situations, is it generally a specific segment of the population, like young men or in driving specific cars, that are creating 95% of the problem, but we're looking to affect 100% of the population?
Yeah, the young drivers 15 to 24 were the ones that were called out as being a contributing factor with those types of incidents, which is why it's important that we have education efforts to try and reach out to those younger drivers so they have a better understanding of the safety concerns with driving over the speed limit. But we also need more enforcement to, address some of those safety speeding issues.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those questions. Is there anybody else on the committee that's got any more comments, questions? I have several of them. Obviously, we know that this document is like 300 pages. It is quite a lengthy document.
Yeah.
I doubt, I haven't fully read it, so I challenge all council members to go through it. Outside of federal grants, how do you propose to fund these road improvements or traffic improvements, or however you want to call them, these nuances? How do you plan on financing those?
Yeah, again, in Chapter 6, we talk about how the plan is going to be used, and basically, we would use this plan to help guide us with grant applications. So as Erica mentioned, there's a federal funding opportunity coming up. There's WashDOT state safety grants. A lot of these programs require an action plan be adopted in order to be eligible. So now that we're hoping if that happens, we can pursue those grant opportunities. Some of them have match requirements. Probably the federal ones probably will have 10, 20% match. And so we'll follow the same grant application that's currently in place now. And then when it comes to the annual update to the Transportation Improvement Program, that's where you'll probably see a lot of these proposed projects and how they're going to be funded identified specifically as part of the annual TIP update.
Okay. My concern when this first came to council back in 22 was, where are we going to get the money? I mean, it's a great thing to have Vision Zero. The state's had Target Zero for well over almost 2 decades now and hasn't impacted anything to this point other than just some of us who do, know it's a program out there. So my concern is there again, investing in something that unless we get the enforcement element squared away, I don't see how we're going to get through this short of putting governors on every car at 25 miles an hour. And still then, there will be accidents that happen. I think, as I stated in public safety, when you're dealing with distracted drivers, when you're dealing with aggressive driving, when you're dealing with alcohol, drug driving activity, those are the main culprits there, along with, I guess aggressive driving is speeding. But also looking at how many of these traffic accidents happen during vehicle pursuits, where the 17-year-old steals the Kia and off they go. So, we could lower the speed limits, but as you indicated, they're not abiding by what we currently have. So if we lower the speed limit, all that does is slow down the law-abiding people so they can't get to their soccer game in time or to the grocery store or whatever. So, I don't want this to turn into we're adding punitives to law-abiding people versus the common individual out there who can care less what the council does or what the county does. They're going to do whatever they want to do when they want to do it unless there's an enforcement element of it. So I just want to drive home that point. The other one is you mentioned red light cameras. That you said, if you correct me, that we did approve red light cameras.
You authorized the use of red light traffic cameras. I believe it's in Chapter 10.42 of the Pierce County Code. Right now, they're not in use, but the department does have that authority under county code.
Okay. I would just wanted to highlight that even though we allow them, there's been no red light cameras installed at any intersections. The other comment, and I think you alluded to this, is Pierce County is dissected by so many state highways. And most of those highways are 4 or 5 lanes. They're aggressive. Obviously, Vision Zero came out of the Highway 7 death of a young man on a crosswalk walking his bike across by a distracted driver. So, obviously there needs to be partnerships involved, and to date, I don't know how much the state has been willing to partner in those corridors, whether it be Meridian, Highway 7, Highway 3,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah, Councilmember, if I can just answer that real quick. The WashDOT traffic engineer, Sarah Ott, was also involved in our leadership work group meetings from the beginning. Our plan was somewhat unique because in addition to focusing on county road segments and intersections, we did address some intersections in the study because those state highway intersections like Pacific Avenue have county roads that intersect them. So they're kind of a shared responsibility. So in our plan, we did call out those state highway intersections that had the highest accident rates. And luckily, WashDOT is currently moving forward with projects on a lot of those intersections, including the intersection where Miss Wirelet's son was unfortunately killed. So they've been involved. We've been sharing our data with them, and they're proposing roundabouts at a series of locations on Mountain Highway portion of SR7. So we coordinate with them all the time, but they've been involved in our process since day one.
Okay, that's good. One more question pertaining, did the health department get involved with you?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe they were. Yeah, they were part of our leadership work group. Yeah. All the members of our work group and steering committee, if you go to the report after the title page, we list all of our members that were involved.
Okay. Okay. With that, I think I've seen numerous hands now pop up in the online, and I think we have someone from the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Darby.
Yes, sir. I don't know if you can hear me okay.
Yes, speak up a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, I was listening. I was here at the beginning of your opening statements, and I heard you were requesting somebody from the sheriff's office. I'm sitting in on this for my lieutenant, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have regarding the sheriff's office role, or I'm aware of the discussions regarding the speed emphasis cameras and the red light cameras in the past, or any sort of enforcement related questions you might have.
Okay, I think the question that committee member Herrera, and he can speak for himself, but has the new sheriff and his staff been involved in the comments and developments of Vision Zero?
We have been involved in, the traffic unit has been involved in working with the Traffic Safety Commission for our emphases and our speed enforcement. Nobody from the traffic unit that I'm aware of is specifically involved in this current Target Zero that you're working with. I know your coworker mentioned Sergeant Obermiller. He is our task force liaison with any state level task force organizations regarding speeding enforcement is Sergeant Obermiller. And he kind of takes the point for our region as far as traffic safety.
Okay, is there?
Yeah, just for clarification for Sergeant Darby's benefit, Lieutenant Sean Goodell has been involved in our process for the last several months. We also interviewed the public information officer, Darren Moss Jr., and then before Sergeant Goodell, there was Major Gary Sanders was part of our leadership work group. So we've had 6 or 7 different sheriffs involved in our process. But Sean Goodell, who I believe asked Sergeant Darby to participate today, he's probably been the longest standing sheriff representative on our steering committee.
Yeah, and Lieutenant Kadow had to step out of the office today last minute, so that's why I'm sitting in here. He is my direct supervisor and boss.
Okay. Are there any questions of Mr. Darby? Committee Member Herrera?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Darby, I just wanted to ask some questions. I think this Vision Zero is very important, and I believe that having support, I know the Sheriff's Office has been involved with the development of this. I'd love to actually hear Lieutenant Caddo and what they thought of it. But I just wanted to be like really, really clear that the Sheriff's Department, the current Sheriff's Department, is all in for this project. I just wanted to make sure that this package that's coming before the council is the right one, and that the Sheriff's Office is all behind it. So I don't know if you can answer that, or we have to ask the Sheriff directly or the other stakeholders that were really, really involved with this. Just wanted to make sure on that one.
No, I can speak for the Sheriff on that one. The Sheriff's Office is all in on this pack.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for those questions. Okay, is there any other questions of Mr. Darby? I don't see any. Is there anyone online that wants to make a comment? Mr. Ritter, I saw your hand up for a moment.
I'll turn my microphone off for now, but I'll just let you know I just pulled some recent stats this morning, and just as of January 14th until now, 2025, we are at 8 fatalities in unincorporated Pierce County.
Thank you for that news. Mr. Darby?
Welcome.
Mr. Ritter?
Yeah, good morning, Chair Morrell, members of the committee. Yeah, I had my hand up earlier, just was going to add some context and additional information on funding, but it sounds like you got your questions answered, but certainly here and available for any other questions.
I guess my question would be to you, Mr. Ritter, is obviously we have a 6-year transportation plan, capital plan that is projected out, and do we have any resources available outside that plan? In other words, discretionary income that can be diverted to a program like this?
It's a great question. So that, as you've heard through the various presentations and some today, there's a number of different strategies that all need to come together to realize Vision Zero. Some of those are engineering based, which those would filter into the 6-year transportation improvement program, as you mentioned. Many others are enforcement strategies, as you've heard today. Those are strategies and work items that would not be included or funded through our 6-year TIP, but rather, as you have well pointed out and characterized, would be more of a sheriff's responsibility and have to be discussed and a solution come up with through that process. So I think as far as the 6-year TIP, really we're focused on the safety improvement type projects. And those could be an intersection improvement, building a sidewalk, and, constructing roundabouts, upgrading signalized intersections, things like that would be projects and strategies that would be included in the 6-year TIP. As you well know, there is a tremendous amount of need throughout the county and a very limited amount of funding. And no different, this Vision Zero, and I'm going to classify them more as safety improvements in general, which we've had many safety improvement projects in our 6-year TIP for as long as it's existed. We do today, and we will continue to do that in the future. But no different than any other kind of priority feature that we have in terms of the county road system, whether that be from a preservation standpoint, whether that be from a congestion capacity standpoint. There's a lot of need, and so grant funding is a huge component of delivering our 6-year transportation improvement program. And so we're going to seek all available resources, whether it be state, federal, or otherwise, to accomplish this. But there's always more need than funding available, for sure.
Yes, and I will agree with just a follow-up comment. I think every project we look at funding in the TIP, it has a safety element. We're not doing it just to do a road project. We always add an element of acknowledging a safety improvement, even within preservation. Obviously filling potholes can be a safety issue. So that element is, ingrained into what we do on a yearly basis. So thank you for making that comment. Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for bringing up that point, because everything done already has the safety built into it. I was just wondering if there are other programs that cross over, and what comes to mind is blue zones, yeah, and that they have an element of walking and whatnot. Are there funds from that would be transferred over to this kind, and are there other programs that get mishmashed together, and so all this money is coming in? And
yeah, I know with Blue Zones, they get funding from, besides the county, other partners like Franciscan Healthcare and Multicare. So they don't, I don't believe I would consider them a funding, a dedicated funding partner. The Puget Sound Regional Council, they're, as I mentioned earlier, they're preparing their own safety plan. And one of the recommendations that's coming out of that plan is to have an earmark set aside for quick fix safety improvements, which I think is a great idea. They're also modifying a lot of their federal funding programs to give emphasis to what's called the FHWA, proven safety measures, like roundabouts and pedestrian lighting and flashing beacons. So when we apply for those PSRC grants, you'll see those types of safety-proof projects being given more priority. For enforcement, a lot of the emphasis in high visibility patrols are being funded through Washington Traffic Safety Commission grants. So that seems to be a steady supply funding source, but it does require a grant application. So as Clint said, there's a lot of funding programs out there. The Safe Streets for All program is $5 billion over 5 years, but the last cycle will be next year. Who knows if the administration will come up with another, but there's a wide variety of safety programs, and we try and leverage our local funds to take advantage of those funds, because a lot of them don't even require match, or 80–90% of the funding can come from grant funding. So that's kind of the position we're taking.
Because it just sounds as if there's no point in having this plan, because all of the things that it's designed to approach are already being done.
Well, actually, we have to have this plan just to be eligible for a lot of those grant funds. Yeah. So if we don't have this plan, we can't apply for the Safe Streets for All. We can't apply for PSRC, and we probably couldn't apply for the state DOT funds. So it's a prerequisite.
So, okay, I won't say anything. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those questions. Are there any further questions of Mike and company? Well, since the county engineer is online, Letitia Neal, do you want to make any comments since you're sitting in a purple field of lavender?
It's beautiful here. Letitia Neal, County Engineer. Thank you, Chair Morrell. No, I would just like to echo some of the same comments you've heard before. The Vision Zero plan that we have developed is a tool for you to use and a tool for us to use to identify opportunities where safety can be improved and to identify many, many different strategies for doing so. And we fully intend to make use of this tool to obtain additional grant fundings and to clarify some of our safety improvement targeting that we do through our capital improvement process.
Okay. Thank you for those words of wisdom. Doesn't look like there's any other questions. I will just open this up at this time for public comment. No one, again, is in the room, so we'll open it up to online comments on resolution.
Yes, Mr. Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comments on proposal number R 2025-132, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And Mr. Chair, looks like we have one hand this time. Last name Levine. Please state your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Levine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Larry Levine, and I wear a few hats. One of the hats is as Executive Director of Forever Green Trails. In the plan, we have submitted a letter about the draft plan, which you can see, I think it's in one of the appendices. Another hat that I wear is as chair of your Transportation Advisory Commission. As Mike Alizio had mentioned, the TAC had several briefings about the plan and did adopt a resolution in support of the plan, but without a lot of detail. And that might potentially surprise you, and that's where I'll hopefully fill in a few gaps that have been alluded to in the staff comments so far with my personal hat as Citizen Levine. It's helpful to know what the action plan is and is not. And the moniker action plan it's almost a little ironic, and it's not staff's fault. That is federal language. In order to take advantage of Safe Streets for All funding, it's sort of a two-step process of adopting a local action plan, and then you can come back and apply for implementation funding. As mentioned, it is a requirement to adopt a local action plan in order to access those funds, and it will certainly be helpful even if it's not a requirement to access federal funds through PSRC or state-oriented state funds oriented to safety. It may not be a requirement to have a Vision Zero action plan, but it certainly, I think, is going to be helpful. What this plan is, it's that phrase, show your homework. You know, you got bad news from your teacher in school. They want you to show your homework. And this is exactly what the plan does. It looks at our actual crash data, and it combs through it and analyzes it in several different ways to show what the outstanding problems are, so that we're not necessarily spending money on what Larry thinks, what Larry's opinion is on a certain thing, or what that person living in this corner of the county thinks is the most important thing, or it's really a data-based approach. And so it shows the homework, and it shows that the county is, frankly, likely to be using federal and maybe regional and state tax dollars in a wise fashion, in highly targeted ways. It is a little bit of an unsatisfying plan in some ways because it doesn't tell you exactly what we're going to do where, but it identifies the high priority locations, which you can find in Appendix J of the plan. I had wished that there were a little more action steps in the plan to be like a work plan for the Vision Zero team, but it is what it is, and it's a important, good, sound, foundational document, and I do urge that the committee support this here and at the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levine.
And at this time, there are no other hands, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we will close the public comment portion pertaining to resolution R 2025-132. Bring it back to the committee for final comments. I will make one comment, and I think there again, in listening to Mr. Levine, we really need to define our message that we're sending out. I've gotten hit with a couple emails that basically say this is a strategy to move people out of their cars onto their bicycles and in their buses. And so we need to really define what it is and what it isn't. Communication and messaging is going to be key moving forward. And as Vice Chair Ayala said, this is very much data driven. There needs to be transparency when you're pursuing that. And whether it's an enforcement issue or whether it's an intersection issue, the public needs to be aware of that. And there again, I understand that this is just gives our county the ability to have more tools in the toolbox to get federal grants, state grants, whether it be through Puget Sound Regional Council, through the Pierce County Regional Council. And so that would be my comment moving forward, that we have a definite communication plan to the public out there. And there again, this is for unincorporated Pierce County. Yeah. We're not mandating that Tacoma, Lakewood, UP do this. So.
Yeah. And Councilmember, if I can just comment, you just said the term moving forward, and that's the title of Chapter 6 of our plan, which is only one page. That's basically calling out that the adoption of this plan is not the end. We'll be bringing back plan implementation to this council on an annual basis. We're going to do an annual audit report. We're going to put as Sergeant Darby mentioned, the fatalities have already occurred. We're going to have an online data dashboard that's tracking all of our fatal and serious accidents. So it's going to be very transparent. We need to track, if we're going to reach target 0 by 2035, which is the council goals, we have to start tracking, measuring that progress over the next 10 years. So that will be part of the dashboard. The annual report will be us coming back to this body and sharing what we have implemented. And then, of course, as Mr. Ritter mentioned, there'll be the annual updates to the Transportation Improvement Program, so you can see which of those strategies are being funded and moving forward. So that is the perfect description of Chapter 6, moving forward. We need to keep moving forward and revisiting these issues on an annual basis.
Okay. Thank you for those comments, Mike. Okay. Then I will look for a motion. Vice Chair Ayala. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I move that proposal number R 2025-132 be forwarded to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded that proposal R 2025-132 be forwarded to the full council with a due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We will move the proposal to the full council, which I do believe final action is the end of April?
That is correct.
Okay, April 29th. So polish your presentation up, and if the Sheriff's Department can make sure that they are either online or in person to get that testimony on the record, I would greatly appreciate it. And there again, 300 pages, make sure you go through it. So thank you. Going back to staff, is there any other business?
No other business for today. Upcoming on our committee work plan and schedule. At the next meeting, we anticipate bringing forward the council-directed neighborhood traffic safety program for your review. And the main topic of the next meeting will be a permitting efficiency panel. So Chair Morrell has invited staff members from Planning and Public Works to give a brief overview of permitting improvements in Pierce County, but the panel will consist of a single-family home builder, a multifamily, a single-family developer, a multifamily developer, and a commercial industrial developer who are going to talk about their experiences with permitting in Pierce County, focusing on how it's focusing on the timelines that they have used, as well as how it compares with their projects in other counties. So I think that will be an interesting discussion up for our next meeting.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate Miss Erica Red Hunt for herding all the cats in that endeavor, trying to get all these individuals to take time off from their busy schedule and come before the council and give us the good, bad, and the ugly, but mainly what we can do to improve the system through their eyes, from people, from developing companies that actually develop in Pierce County. This is their home. This is what they do. So bring your popcorn. It ought to be good. And so I appreciate everyone showing up for that meeting. So with that, Mr. Swanson, do you have any parting words? Okay. Okay, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Can I get in?
Absolutely. Let's take a look.
Okay, this is the